Got wood? Find out on this next episode of Digest This.
Welcome to Digest This, the show that helps you revolutionize your digestive health. Here are your hosts, Dr. Liz Cruz and Tina Nunziato.
Hello and welcome to Digest This. I'm Dr. Liz Cruz and I've got the beautiful Tina Nunziato. I was going to say the beautiful Nunziato sitting here right next to me. You know, because sometimes we refer to each other. I'll be like, hey, Nunziato. She's like, Cruz. Yeah, Cruz.
Yeah, Cruz. Although lately I told you I was going to start calling you Cruz.
Cruz.
Because I had a call from a telemarketer looking for Dr. Cruz.
Yes.
I was
Dr.
like,
Cruz.
Seriously? Wow.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Well, welcome. We're so happy that you've joined us. If you are a first-time listener, boy, are you in for a treat. If you are a regular listener, you're in for a treat too. So we really appreciate that you've taken the time to listen to us or watch us if you're watching us on YouTube, because we know everybody has such crazy, hectic, busy schedules. And so thank you very much. It means a lot to us. So let's talk about wood, Tina. What do you have in mind with the topic wood?
Oh, no. So anyway, sometimes when I drive into the office, I listen to 99.9 KEZ, which is, the Beth and Friends station. And they had mentioned recently that Milk had put out an ad campaign basically going after the alternative milk industry. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, there's all these alternative milks out there: almond milk, soy milk, coconut milk, cashew milk, blah, blah, blah. And, I guess milk has been losing some market share. And so they were talking about how they created a commercial about wood milk. And they were basically making fun of the alternative milk industry by saying that they're going to make milk out of wood. And it's this whole commercial. Like, you can go on YouTube and you can watch the commercial. It's actually pretty funny.
It is.
They were also talking about how the milk industry, actually there was a lawsuit that went out against the alternative milk industry for using the term milk, because the definition of milk is basically a liquid that comes from the mammary glands of an animal to feed its young. And so obviously almond milk does not come from mammary glands. It comes from almonds, and coconut milk does not come from mammary glands. It comes from coconuts. So they were basically saying that these alternative milk companies should not be allowed to use the term milk on their containers, which they actually lost the lawsuit, apparently. And so for whatever reason, I don't know, I haven't looked into that, but it's just very interesting, right, to see kind of the angles the milk industry is taking. The other thing that I thought was really interesting about what Beth was talking about with her fellow on-air group was, why do we have these alternative milks? Why can't people just drink milk, right? And so that to me kind of stung a little bit, because Beth, I don't know, for those of you that live here in Phoenix, and I think now 99.9 KEZ can be broadcasts all over now with the apps, the iHeartRadio app, but, Beth makes an impact on people, right? I mean, she says things and people listen, and I think it's just sad, just what they're putting out there in terms of putting stuff like alternative milks down.
Well, was she saying it in a derogative way, though?
Like
or maybe she doesn't really know?
Well, it's probably because she doesn't really know. But I think in general, they were putting alternative milks down. And I just don't know why they have to do that, right? Yeah. Because there's a place for all those milks.
Sure.
I am constantly talking about those milks to patients and clients that I'm doing consults with, because a lot of people cannot do dairy.
Right.
And dairy is the cause of a lot of their digestive issues. I mean, we do a ton of food sensitivity testing on patients, and I tell you, the number one thing that comes back high on these food sensitivity tests is dairy, all forms of dairy.
I mean, dairy is very irritating to the gastrointestinal tract, okay? I mean, dairy, milk, okay, that comes from the mammary gland from the cow, is meant to feed their young.
Right.
Okay? And so it can be very irritating. And a really great example of this is, you've probably heard, you've probably seen on TV, or maybe you're a senior and but how, they say don't drink milk right before you're going to sing. Well, why is that? That's because of the phlegm that it produces, the mucus. Well, why is it even causing that in the first place? Because it's irritating. Milk is irritating to the gastrointestinal system. As gastroenterologists, having a practice, we see thousands of patients who have issues with dairy, who sometimes don't realize it. I mean, actually, we see a lot of them who come in and tell us that they're on the lactate milk,
Right.
Which is still dairy.
Right.
But, a lot of people know it, and a lot of people don't know it. A lot of people don't realize that probably it's the milk and the cheese and the ice cream that they're eating that can be causing some of their GI issues.
And some people, like you said, move to lactate.
Right.
And some people just keep drinking the milk, right?
Yeah,
but
sure.
to your point, the reason why the mucus is produced is because there's a reaction in the lining that causes the body to produce mucus to protect itself.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So just that right there should tell you it's not healthy for our bodies. Okay. And so if you're lactose intolerant already, you can relate to this. If you're not lactose intolerant, you will be someday. Okay, that's the bottom line. But yeah, so I spend a lot of time talking about these alternative milks with people, especially almond milk. I'm usually encouraging almond milk. As long as their almond doesn't come back high on their food sensitivity list, so some people do have high almond as well. But almond milk is probably one of the better alternative milks, as opposed to coconut milk or soy milk or things like that, just because it's not as sweet and it is coming from a nut, right? Again, we're trying to encourage not a lot of soy in somebody's diet. So if they're already eating tofu or edamame, don't drink soy milk as well. But, and coconut milk can be very sweet for people and they don't like super, super sweet milk. So usually almond milk is the one that I'm teaching people about. And so it's just unfortunate, right? That there's still people out there putting down these alternative milks when they do serve a purpose.
Absolutely.
In the market. And there's a lot of products made from these milks. So it allows, like I tell patients who their dairy comes back high, that it's okay. Like you can still eat ice cream, right? You can still eat butter. You can still eat sour cream even. There's a sour cream made from cashew milk, okay?
Which is actually really good.
Yeah, it tastes fine. Like and so this part of the commercial is they're making fun of how disgusting the milk tastes. The milks and the milk byproducts from these milks actually taste pretty good. Like, is it different? Yes. Is it terrible? Does it taste like wood? No. Okay. But even like ice cream made from coconut milk or made from almond milk still tastes like ice cream, right? And again, just gets away from that mucus producing reaction that the body has from anything coming from a cow.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, we just wanted to talk about that and talk about some of the alternative milks and just make sure again people are educated about the importance of these alternative milks, and that I just think it's funny that the milk industry feels like they have to go that far now,
right?
Because they do feel threatened.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a personal testimony, for our family in regards to the milks. When our twins were babies, we actually did start out with the formulas, and then we went when we started on our journey, because we had just started on this journey, the wellness journey, and discovering and learning so that we could put a program together for our patients. So we were like, up to that point, we didn't know, we had never even heard of almond milk.
Right.
Okay, we never even heard of it. But one of the mentors that we had, we went to visit her in California, and one of the things that she did was blood microscopy, which is where they look at your blood, like literally get drops of blood, put it on a slide, and look at it under the microscope. And Tina actually learned how to do that. And the things that she saw, we had her do it on our twins, and the things that she saw in their blood, only being like, I don't even know if they were even a year old.
No, they were still on baby formula. And they were doing breast milk and baby formula.
Exactly. Yeah. But it was we were so traumatized and so sad by what was being seen in their blood at such a young age already. And so at that point, this mentor that we had suggested that we try something like almond milk and
greens.
But even another step, make our own almond milk.
Right.
Okay? So not buy it in the store, make our own almond milk.
Yeah.
So Tina and I started on a journey, and when we took our kids to the pediatrician and told her that this is what we were going to do, she was not happy at all.
Yep. She made me bring them in every 2 weeks.
Yep.
To be weighed and measured to make sure that they were growing. And after like 2 or 3 months, when they were actually growing at a better rate than most other babies, they're like, okay, you don't have to come back in anymore.
Yes, exactly. Isn't that awesome? Like, I mean, Tina and I continued, we would take turns making the almond milk, and we have to make it like every 2 days. Yeah, because, after a couple days, then it would go rancid. I mean, this is fresh almond milk. We had to soak almonds overnight. Then we would like grind them in the Vitamixer with water, and then we had to put it through a cheesecloth to squeeze it out. Like we did this for 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 years. I mean, our babies had all sorts of green stains on all their clothes, but
because the almond milk got combined then with cucumber, celery, and spinach.
Exactly.
It was blended, and so it was like half almond milk, half greens.
Yep.
So they were drinking green juice basically.
Yep.
Since the time they were born, they were our alkaline babies.
Our little alkaline organic babies.
But even before the twins were born, Kai, our then 3-year-old, had multiple series of strep throat. From the time he was 1.5 until the time he was 3, he had strep throat, I think 5 or 6 times, and they had decided that the best thing would be to take his tonsils out.
Right.
So they go in, I think he had to wait till he was 3. We took his tonsils and adenoids out, only for him to get strep throat again.
Yeah.
Okay. And this was again around the same time that we were going through this journey, and some of the coaches that we were working with said take him off of dairy because he was drinking a lot of milk, and we took him off of dairy. Nothing.
Yeah.
Everything was great. And it just breaks my heart to this day because the kid lost his tonsils and adenoids over cow's milk. And I just wish we would have learned that, 6 months earlier. But you know what? It is what it is. If
it's a learning journey.
Yeah. If we can save your 2 or 3-year-old from getting their tonsils and adenoids out by taking them off of dairy, try it first.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Well, we'd love for you to connect with us. If you haven't yet, check out our website, drlizcruz.com. There is a magenta colored button on the homepage that you can click and schedule a free 30-minute wellness consult. And you could do that from the comfort of your home because it's on the phone, so you could do it from anywhere in the world. And yes, it's free. 30-minute wellness consult. If you have not rated our show, please give us a rating, and please give us 5 because that'll help other people just like you to find us quicker. And lastly, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so that you don't ever miss an episode of Digest This. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you on the next podcast.
Thank you for joining Dr. Liz Cruz and Tina Nunziato. To learn more about their revolutionary products and services, go online to www.drlizcruz.com.